Friends, acquaintances, colleagues, we have reached an important part of my reading journey for this year, and that is the point at which I have to pick my 100th book. So I thought, why not do it in a fun way? We're gonna do a scavenger hunt. Yay! That's what we're gonna do. And I got this idea from Booksandlala, and we're gonna do it now. So we're just gonna go through the prompts. In front of my bookshelves, all my books are here. You can't see them. They go all the way up there. There's even some on the top, and then they go all the way down there, and there's some in a pile, some on the TBR cart. Loads, there's loads of them. I don't actually think this is going to go particularly well because, well, I have a lot of books. I don't know much about them. So, first prompt, grab your favourite book. I don't have my favourite book of all time here with me today, which is Daughter of No Worlds. So I'm going to pick my favourite book of the year, which is The House Witch. Dun, dun, dun. This is my favourite book of the year. And it says, go to the acknowledgements and the first name you see, find a book by an author with the same name. Acknowledgements. Well, there's only one name. Kiev. I don't think I have an author with that name. I own no books by an author with that name. How can we make this fun? Maybe KS? Maybe we can find a book with KS. Still no. What a swimming start. I'm not going to cheat, but I am going to go to the next book in the series and see if that has a different name. No acknowledgements. Right, third time's the charm. We're going to go to the third book in the series. I've really not done well. I bet there aren't any acknowledgements here either. Nope, no acknowledgements. House Witch, for the first time in your existence, you have let me down. I think we'll go with my next favourite book, which was Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry. Let's hope you thank more people. Right, so I found the acknowledgements. Kate. Kate is the first name I see in the acknowledgements. This is stressful. Why don't authors go by their first names more? I don't think I have a Kate. Oh, The Suspicions of Mr. Witcher is by Kate Summerscale. It's over there in that corner, which I'm not going to show you because it's messy, but I am going to go and get it. I got it. Kate Summerscale. I have not read this. I picked it up from a library sale. It is in fact large print when I'm in the mood for that. But we have book 2. Pick something on that cover and find another book with that thing in the title. Okay, there's blood on the cover. There's a house. There's fingers. There's a woman. Pallbearers Club? Yeah. Nothing's jumping to my brain. I'm going through my red books first. So, Under the Whispering Door has a house. Should we just go with that because the first one took us so long? I'm trying to think if there's anything else that would be better. His Bloody Project has blood on it. And it's kind of more of the same vibe. I'm going to go with the vibe of His Bloody Project and go with that one. Go to page 50, line 5. Pick a word from that line and find a title with that word. Page 50. My hands resting on the sides to prevent it from bumping. This. Great. This might hurt is an option. In my dreams I hold a knife is an option. Everyone in my family has killed someone. I wish I had something with hands in the title, but I don't think I do. There's the in that sentence. I could pick so many books with the. I think the one that appeals most to me is This Might Hurt, because it's a short title and it has one of the words in it. I just lost a nail. This Might Hurt from this. Find a 5-star read with the same colours on the cover. Fuck. This is a 5-star read. And it's the only one that looks like this. I don't read 5 stars. Okay, we're just gonna talk about all the 5 stars that I have on my shelf. Six of Crows, absolutely not. It's black and grey. This is blue and pink. Children of Fallen Gods. I'm gonna say no. House Witch, we can see if I angle you. The House Witch, not blue and pink. Under the Whispering Door. I know we already talked about it, but it does have a lot of blue. They're not the same blue, but it does have a lot of blue. I'm going to put that to one side. Year of the Witching, bright red, not helpful. Icebreaker. Blue and pink? Blue and pink, maybe? I like that one better. We're going to That's currently in the #1 spot. I don't think... No. Game of Thrones? Throne of Glass isn't going to do anything for me. Project Hail Mary. Blue and pink. Blue and pink with white writing. I'm going to go with that. I think that is great. Find a book with the same number of pages. 476. I'm going to check my story graph and see if anything comes up. Okay, 480, Cut by Mark Rabb, and 469, After the Forest by Kel Woods. I'm going to go through a different section and see if any of the ones I've read. I have one. Nanny for the Neighbours by Lily Gold. It is in fact not the right number of pages. If you count the kind of not story pages at the end, it's the right number of pages. Should we go with that? I feel like we should go with that. Let me just check. I'm going to check 2 more books to see if they're any better. None of these are working out for me. Story graph is lying to me about the pages. This is 472, 480. They're both 4 pages difference. But I've read this one, so we're going to go with this one. I think that's the closest I'm going to get. I don't have any that are exactly the same. Oh no. Flip open to any page. The first name you see, find a book by an author who shares that name. This is a fantasy book. They have fantasy names. Let's just pick one. Wren. Wren asked. I don't think I've read a book by a wren. Do I own a book by a wren? I don't own a book by a wren. I'm going to pick another page. Montague. Don't own a book by Montague. Have I read a book by Montague? No. Oh. I'm going to be sneaky. I'm going to try to flip over to a page in the acknowledgements. It's not in the acknowledgements. Kazzy. I bet I could just go through every name in this book. Nope, no Kazzy. I'm going to switch to the other book that was 4 pages away. I haven't read this book. I don't know what sort of names are in it. Gabriel. I have a Gabriella. The closest I've got is a Gabriella. It has Gabriel in it. I'm saying that this is allowed. Find another title with the same number of letters. 3, 6, 9, 12, 16. 16 letters. This is just going to be me counting over and over again. Maybe I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you when I found a book with 16 letters in the title. I found it! Oh, I found it! The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. Let me double check. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16! 16! Success! Find a book with a similar cover. I don't like this colour. I got it from a charity shop. I would probably choose a different colour if I could. Blue with whitish writing. My immediate reaction is to go with this. They're not quite the same blue. This is more purple than blue. Death of Mrs. Westaway. It's got that orange writing, which the Graveyard Book doesn't have. Ooh. Left Hand of God. Got that same kind of graininess. It's not quite the same colour. I feel like that's my favourite. It's not a perfect match. This is more purple, this is more blue. But it has that white writing, it has the kind of mistiness, and it has that like silhouette on the cover. I'm gonna go with that. And if you don't agree with me, then that's fine. Right, the next hint, clue, whatever, is the last one. So I think we should go through how we got here. Favourite book, Legends and Lattes. Go to the acknowledgements, found Kate. Kate Summer Scale. Find an element of that cover. Find it in another one, which was blood, and I got His Bloody Project. Open to page 50, go to line 5. I found the word this, which is in This Might Hurt. Choose a cover with similar colours. It's blue and pink. Project Hail Mary, blue and pink. Find a book with the same number of pages. We were within 4 with Cut. Open to a random page, pick a name. We got Gabriel, which led us to Gabriella, with The Sun and the Void. Pick a book with the same number of letters. We got The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. And pick a book with a similar colour. We got The Left Hand of God. Now to the final clue. Right, the final prompt is to flip to a random page and point at a word and find a book with that word in the title. Or harder than I think it's supposed to be. I'm gonna have a look, but I actually don't think I have a book with or in the title. I don't have a book with or in the title. Let's try again. 2. Well, that made life a lot easier. I feel like there's a lot of 2. I'm gonna collect them and then we can decide. I return to you with 5 options. I'm gonna tell you why I'm not gonna read it. Door-to-door bookstore. I'm saving this for a different vlog. Death Comes to Pemberley. I mean, I'm not against it. I'm not gonna pick one of the Illumicrate ones because again, I have a vlog in mind for these. So that leaves us with A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet and Death Comes to Pemberley. This is hard. I thought it was going to be easier. I thought I was going to be like, yep, absolutely this one. But this one just seems so nuts that it's kind of appealing to me. No, A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. I'm going to read this. And you're going to watch me read it. Aren't you excited? I think this is going to be fun. Whoa. I'm 100 pages in, 96 to be exact. I have basically read the synopsis now in book form. We're following a crew on a ship that essentially makes travel shortcuts in space. Rosemary is new to the crew. She has some kind of secret to her past that she doesn't want to tell us. And you get multiple perspectives, so you get perspectives from the different crewmates, but it is mainly from Rosemary's point of view. And they've just been offered a really high-paying, long job. I'm enjoying it. It feels like kind of the right book for this time of year. Like, it is definitely sci-fi and there's concepts and things that I don't necessarily understand, but it doesn't feel like my lack of understanding is impacting my enjoyment of the story in any way. And the characters so far are all very lovable. They're pretty distinct. So I feel like we're going to have this real kind of found family vibe. I've seen people call it cozy sci-fi and I think that would be pretty accurate so far. There's not like any massive world-ending save the universe type storylines going on. It's just gentle human-ish storylines. That feels like the wrong way to put it. It's not really human if they're aliens, is it? What do they call them? Sapiens? Very sapien storyline? Does that even make sense? But it's very sweet, very gentle. A lot of the descriptions of things are very warm, very cozy. There's been a fair amount of descriptions of food, and while it's food that we wouldn't necessarily eat now, all the descriptions of them are very comforting. And I think because Rosemary is new to space travel, she's lived her entire life on Mars, which I think is the closest approximation to what we would call like normal life for the rest of us. A lot of the things that are new for us are also new for her. So I think it's quite a gentle way to be introduced to some of these concepts, and it's a good way for the book to explain things without it feeling too info dumpy. There was only one section where I was like, you're just talking to me in science now and I don't really get it. But it's fine that I don't get it because really neither does Rosemary. But I'm having a good time with it. There has been just a little bit of kind of mixed media. So there's text messages, there's emails, there's news stories, which has been kind of fun. But yeah, I'm happy with it. I think as I get more into it, it will become more consuming. I think at the moment it feels, it's all very introductory, right? Like we're only just on the ship, we're only just meeting the cast of characters, we're only just getting introduced to the job. So it feels quite surface right at the moment, but I'm only a quarter of the way through the book. So as an introduction, I think it's going quite well. But we'll see if I like the rest of it or not. But I'll update you. I don't want to make this video too long, so I'll probably just do one more update before I finish. Yeah. I'll just talk to you once more before I'm done with the book, and then I'll give you my thoughts and we will celebrate my 100th read. Let's chat. I am that far through the book. I have about 75 pages left. I like this book. but I have complicated feelings towards it, in that I think a lot of the things that it's talking about, that it's looking at, that it's examining are really interesting and really thought-provoking and keep me engaged a lot of the time. I find that I'm considering this book a lot and thinking about the things it's saying a lot. Great word choice there. Great word choice. But I'm not having like a huge amount of fun with it. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think there are books that are meant to be entertaining and a fun ride and enjoyable kind of throughout. They're meant to elicit these big emotions, and this isn't one of those books, but that is the type of book I typically read. So reading something like this that is a bit slower, a bit more thought-provoking, a bit more subtle is kind of an interesting experience for me. I am enjoying it to an extent and I am liking it, but I'm not like overwhelmed by emotion for it. I guess I'll talk a little bit about the structure of the book. They're on this long trip, right? The crew is on this long trip and you're continuing to get multiple perspectives, but there's basically just like a series of incidents that happen throughout the book. So they're on one planet, they meet these people, something happens, it resolves. They're on this place, they meet these people, something happens, it resolves. They're in this place, they meet these people, something happens, it resolves. So it is this kind of, you could almost take each chapter as like a short story, right? Like there's just this exploration of something happening in this moment of time, a problem happens and then it gets resolved. I'm currently at what I think is, for me, one of the most interesting conversations that we've had within the book. It deals with culture and religion and belief and life, I guess. So I'm really enjoying this little conversation that we're currently in. And I have enjoyed various of the little sections throughout the book, but I haven't loved all of them. The world building in this is really interesting. I think all the different species that exist and all the different cultures and languages and all of that has been really well done. Not having read much sci-fi, and the sci-fi that I have read has been quite kind of narrow in its location and cast of characters. This has a much bigger scope than any of the sci-fi I've read before, and I am enjoying that aspect of it. I'm enjoying learning about all the different species and cultures and all that kind of stuff. So I think that is a fun aspect to it, and none of it feels too overwhelming to understand. There have been a couple of points where I'm like, I'm not totally sure I get it, but not to the point where I'm not enjoying the book anymore. I think that my lack of understanding doesn't affect my understanding of the plot points overall, even if I don't understand every minuscule detail of them. A lot of the crew is very lovable. A lot of the connections they have to other people is very sweet. But there are situations where lives are at risk. In terms of cozy fantasy, the closest I would liken this to is Sword Heart by T. Kingfisher. That kind of low-level risk to life and small isolated problems that they have to deal with is very reminiscent of Sword Heart by T. Kingfisher. There is some romance in here, not as heavy as in Sword Heart, in which there is one very clear romance that the author wants us to root for. This is more subtle in its romance, and there's also a bigger cast of characters to follow. So we are getting perspectives from almost all of the crew at some point in the book, which is quite fun. I'm going to finish it. I feel like I've talked for too long. This is supposed to be a quick video. So I'm going to finish it and then I'm going to come back with a rating. I don't feel emotionally ready to talk about this book. 5 stars. 5 stars, man. I think I said before that I wasn't like connecting on an emotional level to this book, and I was just wrong. I was just wrong. It was happening subconsciously. I didn't notice it happening, but I was so connected to these characters by the end of it. I was there with them while they were doing stuff, and stuff was happening to them, and I felt compassion and anger and pride and all those different emotions for these characters, and the pain they were feeling felt like physical pain, and I'm just astonished by it. I was like, oh, I'm gonna sit on my rating. I'm gonna think about it some more because the ending was really impactful, but It did struggle to keep my attention throughout the book, but I just think it earned the ending. It put so much effort into building these characters for you that by the end you can't help but be emotionally impacted by what happens to them. 5 stars. 5 stars. That's it. That's the end of the video. I loved this book. I'm so glad that the Scavenger Hunt picked this as my 100th read. It's really like quite satisfying to have a 5-star read as your 100th read of the year. I know it's just arbitrary numbers, but it's a nice little win that that significant number got a good rating. I hope you enjoyed the video. I have a feeling that it was quite chaotic. I haven't actually watched any of the footage yet, but if it was nuts, we'll just accept that and move on, shall we? Thank you for being here. If you want to like and subscribe or comment, I'd appreciate that, and I will see you in the next video.